A baseless Facebook post about an adult man going into a women's locker room at a local rec center sparked discussion over a bigger question.
News 13's Taylor Thompson takes a look at North Carolina's laws regarding public restrooms and what local governments can actually control.
A political analyst we spoke with says that North Carolina is the epicenter of a fight for who can and can't use public restrooms. It all started with a July 12th Facebook post where someone accused a transgender woman of going into the women's locker room and changing into a bathing suit in front of minors. A claim that sparked an investigation by the Waynesville Police Department that found the post to be false and determined there was no wrongdoing. At last Tuesday's town council meeting, many showed up to support the trans community. Also at that meeting, the town attorney explained using the bathroom you identify with is North Carolina's law.
In North Carolina, towns literally only have the authority that the General Assembly gives them.
Today's law is the result of House Bill 2 from 2016, which became known as the Bathroom Bill, and it meant that you had to use the bathroom of your gender at birth.
HB 2 was incredibly unpopular. It led to really a lot of boycotts, and so that was eventually repealed.
In 2017, the General Assembly passed House Bill 142.
So that essentially repealed these provisions of the previous HB 2, the infamous bathroom bill. This is not the way it is. You can essentially use the bathroom that you would like to use.
This bill changed the authority at the local level.
That essentially removed any legal authority from municipalities or counties from adopting policies related to the use of gendered restrooms or locker rooms. We cannot enforce any unwritten policies regarding the use of gendered restrooms or locker rooms. So those of you on both sides of this issue who have asked the town to act as it regards the locker rooms and restrooms, we legally cannot.
We're seeing these kinds of little issues sprout up throughout the country. Of course, this one appears to be baseless. It appears to be essentially made up, that there was no real threat going on in these bathrooms.
The Campaign for Southern Equality released the following statement regarding the current law that says in part, quote, discriminating against someone because they are transgender violates the Constitution, and that the legal precedent in our state is clear.
But that is the law of the land in North Carolina and elsewhere now. You can go to the bathroom that matches your gender identity.
And Waynesville Town Attorney Martha Bradley says they have responsive staff at each facility, along with gender-neutral options with locked restrooms and changing rooms for anyone who wants extra privacy.
New at 5:30, creating a safer learning environment as students prepare to head back to class.
The Center for Safer Schools is meeting with educators, school administrators, and law enforcement from across the state this week. News 13's Ed Diorio has details on some of the challenges and possible solutions they're discussing.
With another school year just weeks away, hundreds came to Gastonia for the RISE conference, where different elected officials throughout education in the state spoke on issues like online hoaxes and House Bill 605. The conference allows state legislators, educators, and school resource officers to share ideas regarding school safety, while seeing what the center feels are some focus points heading into the school year. One big note at this year's conference is House Bill 605, which requires all school districts to have a threat assessment team. The groups will be composed of educators, SROs, law enforcement officers, and others within the staff.
Whether it is some mental health services or whether it's some family engagement services, doing whatever needs to happen so that that child can have a productive school year.
The bill won't take effect until 2024, but this conference was introducing the basics about what makes a good threat assessment team based on ones other schools have already.
The data is really clear that when you are proactive in your approach to helping students, that you are less likely to see an event in the future.
Another emphasis was the risk social media and hoaxes pose to young students.
Children have more access to social media. Younger children have access to phones. And so what we are seeing is that when they have access, sometimes it's a good thing, but a lot of times it's not. And so it's going to keep changing.
And as much as the schools will try to prevent online activity from being harmful, this RISE conference is advising educators to inform parents to be more proactive on their end.
What we need to make sure that folks here understand about those issues is how they can maybe support parents in knowing what to do when they see that come across their social media feed, to encourage their children not to share the information through social media that exacerbates the problem.
The conference began on Monday morning and spans 3 days, ending on Wednesday.
An administrative judge overturns a proposed urgent care expansion for Mission Hospital in Arden, citing a problem with its application. News 13's Kimberly King breaks down the case and why this may not be the end of the story.
The administrative judge cited what amounts to a technicality, stating that Mission did not have a required public hearing in the Arden area to get feedback on whether or not the residents in the area felt they needed an expanded Mission Hospital in Arden. Mission's plan to build an urgent care miles to the south, along with one in Candler, are stopped.
The judge reviewed the situation, the application, and made this decision.
The decision that state officials didn't do it by the book. Advent Health spokeswoman Victoria Dunkel.
Advent Health is very pleased with the administrative judge's decision regarding this case.
Advent and Pardee hospitals brought the suit. Judge David Sutton ruling in their favor on a technicality, stating Mission's application is reversed because Mission failed to use proper procedure and state officials acted erroneously and approved the applications without Mission holding a state-required public hearing.
The question in my mind is how much of this situation is of Mission's own doing.
Victoria Hicks leads a rural health advocacy group and feels state officials would serve the public better by investigating issues inside Mission's main ER before approving anything else.
As someone who just recently spent 36 hours in the Mission ER, basically just waiting for a room, I can see that there's a problem.
Mission spokeswoman said, while we were disappointed by the setback of these rulings, we know that more access to care is important and will seek opportunities to provide it. Advent, however, sees the pursuit as something else.
It really was about maintaining a market share.